Hi, welcome to a book haul of all the magazines and books and comics I bought over the last couple of weeks, all the way up to the 30th of November 2023. Let's just go through it. I've just picked up a few additional items from the estate sale that was at Gosh. I didn't think there would be that much left, but there's been quite a lot, so I've been picking up the odd item when I popped up to London. But currently I'm reading this. Now, I got this a couple of months ago and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. This is really worth checking out. If you love Ed Brubaker, you'll really enjoy this. This is obviously a European comic, and it is absolutely brilliant crime graphic novel. Love reading that. Bought this from Gosh. This is part of an estate sale. The estate sale was about a couple of months ago or a month or so. It feels a while back, but I thought, you know what? I'm definitely going to get that one. The reason, Wally Wood. Lots and lots of great EC all the way through this, and I'm obviously not going to show every single bit. There's Fawcett there. Also, you've got Spidey there, Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man. How many times has that been printed now? But it's also got lots of great things like pulps as well as, of course, Wally Wood. And it's got a lovely selection of imagery and even some actually great photos of Wally Wood that I've never seen before, where he was playing guitar. So that's a really great little magazine. I really enjoyed these. Comic Book Marketplace. I don't know why I didn't keep more of them, because they're really good issues and they do turn up fairly regularly, but they seem to be obviously going up slightly in price now. £6, because at one time you could get them for about 50p. I did watch a video, Cartoon Kayfabe. I love those videos. They're really great on YouTube. Really worth checking out. Comics Scene. Now, I never heard of the magazine, to be honest. It completely passed me by for some weird reason. Maybe I just looked at it and thought, I don't know, it's not for me. But really, probably I should have done, because it's got loads of great articles. And this one, Fighting American, obviously Little Mermaid there. But you've also got Joe Kubert. You've also got, obviously, there, Fighting American. Also, Pogo. I love Pogo. I've got all, so far, 8 volumes of the Pogo books. They're written from IDW. I really hope they continue that series, because it's just a great series. Pirate on the High Stars. This is a lovely one. I love 60s magazines, and I've got lots and lots of 60s magazines. This one is from 1966. Look, and I think this is probably the most interesting looking cover anyway of all these magazines. They go for quite a lot. I was quite surprised. I got this one reasonably priced, but most of the time they go for insane amounts of money. I don't know why, but there is some imagery I can show. Of course, good old Lost in Space. I love that series. All 3 seasons of that back in the day. Actually, saying that, I did enjoy the recent Lost in Space probably more than the original. Of course, Forbidden Planet. Love that film as well. I have no idea. Probably Alphaville or something like that. I'm not certain. But it's also got a lot of details about all the various films in the 1960s. Obviously, also some great artwork as well, which is really nice. And it's got Fahrenheit 451, which is a film I have not watched for ages and ages. I thought, you know what, I must sit down and watch that. So you've got Fahrenheit 451. Bandes? Designé. I don't know how to say that. I've never said it probably correct. Droulet, the adventures of Lone Sloan. And it's in black and white, and it's really nice because, of course, I've seen it in colour, but I've never seen it in this form of black and white, which is really nice. I'm surprised they've never brought out an artist edition of that. That would be brilliant. This is an odd book. Now, this is in Italian. It's not in English. I thought, well, it's reasonably priced, and I love Wally Wood's artwork. I'm not so certain the story is particularly great. It's a Western, but it's still interesting, and there's some examples there. Now, I was expecting slightly something different. I mean, I've actually seen examples on the web of lots of inked pages and things that actually look like they were the original. Now, maybe there's different versions of this. Maybe the Italian version didn't include the same as the one that I think it was Fantagraphics that brought out the American edition of this. But this is very hard to read, actually. What a weird way of doing it. Shataktuk, something, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, there you can see it there. It may be even better to see it there. But why did they do that on the cover? That just makes it really look odd, doesn't it? It looks like shut at attack or something, which maybe that's what they were. But still, it's got some great artwork and certainly worth checking out if you're a Wally Wood fan. But so it's in Italian. My Italian is pretty awful, but I can make out a fair amount of what's being said in the various things. Not, don't ask me, CR OK. Comics Rule OK. I haven't actually read it yet. I flicked through it a few times and it seems to be quite good. It's first issue. A new look at old comics, all UK comics, British comics from the 1960s to the 1980s. And you obviously can see what's included. Action. I don't think the cover really works. I think somehow it's there's just something wrong. I think the way they did that at the top, I think they should have grouped them with maybe make it like some of the old Atlas comics used to do back in the 50s. But it just seems odd the way they've done that. But I do love some of the things they've got included in here. Dark They Were and Golden Eyed. Of course, one of my... Now that would be brilliant. If they run an article about Dark They Were and Golden Eyed, lots of people's memories of that. I also like some pictures. I've seen about 3 or 4, not many. There's just so few pictures of Dark They Were, especially the St Anne's Court. There's also, of course, the one in Berwick Street. And there was apparently one before that, which I never went to, so I don't know. But you've got other ones there. You've got the British Fantasy Society, Through the Walls. And it's also got things like battle and action. I love this. Oil rigs. You can't beat oil rigs. There was recently I saw one on, was it on Netflix? Or whatever it was. It was on one of those sort of things. It might have been just on UK TV. But oil rig one where they had very, very unusual science fiction fantasy on that. And that was... I don't know if they're ever going to make any more of that story, but it was certainly an odd one. But I love oil rig ones. Of course, Doctor Who and oil rigs and things have done that as well. Nighttime in the City, Night Raven. Not a character that I particularly liked. One's there. You've got the pulps, hooligan and pulp novels. You can't be that. Hooligan and pulp novels, really? Soccer Thug, who would buy books of that? But obviously there is quite a collector's market. I am quite certain of these sort of things. And you've also got a sweet something, I can't make that out, Sweet Surrender or something. Of obviously, and also other hooligans, obviously, Raven. I did enjoy that one. Raven on the Wing. That was, this bikers meet bottlers as a gang of ruffians rough up the young footballer. That was a really decent yarn. I'd love to see a collection of that. Don't know why they haven't brought one out. Let's see what else is in it. Steam Power and many others. Obviously, you've got Bem there, of course. But I think this is going to be a very nice little magazine. I'm definitely going to be getting issue 2 when it comes out. So I look forward to that. And there's obviously the back of it. Another one of those ones I buy because I watched that cartoon kayfabe. It cost me a fortune, that. Really does. I think, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Ralph Steadman, A Life in Ink, and it is absolutely glorious. Let's just quickly go through. I'm not going to go through, obviously, because I've got a pile of stuff, so I don't want to spend too much time on, obviously, every single page. I will go through some of these probably to a bit more detail, do reviews of, but some really great artwork all the way through this. And his artwork is superb, no doubt about that. I mean, it's just really great, all the way from 1960s, 1970s, etc. And there's some more examples there. Really big format, real chunky, massive tome. And, of course, if you're actually quite interested in this book, I would suggest go and check in the Cartoon Kayfabe because they go through it, really talk about and discuss a lot of this book. And it's just some truly odd artwork, but really impressive. This is a book that I looked at when the estate sale was on in Gosh, and I picked it up and then put it down. I don't know why, because I think my bag was pretty heavy at that point, and I thought, I'm not going to pick up any more, however good it was. And I must admit, I thought afterwards, why didn't I buy it? Luckily, this week, it's just up in London, and there it was, in the box, and I thought, yes, I'm definitely going to buy it this time. The Aviation Adventures Classic of the 1930s by Noel Sickles. It cost me £15. A really nice little book, this one. It's in black and white all the way through, of course. It's not colour. But it's a real nice quality comic strip. Really brilliant artwork. And I'm looking forward to reading the story because I haven't obviously read it yet. I've been, like I say, reading another book at the moment. And you can only read so many books at the same time. I think I've got about 10 books on the go at the same time. And that's enough, I think. After a while, you get utterly confused where you are with all the books. I've got this. Golden Age All American. No, it's not, unfortunately. It's the facsimile. It would be lovely if it was the original. However, when I do come to do a review of this, and I will do a review of this, it's a lot smaller than the original All American comics. I wish they would bring it out in the big size format that it was back in the day. That would be brilliant. But saying that, it's quite expensive. It cost me £6.80. £6.80 for this. It's, well, I suppose with inflation, maybe whatever it was, 10 cents when it came out, who knows. But it still seems quite a lot. But it's a pretty odd one when you look at it, the Green Lantern, never called him the Green Lantern now, but introducing the Green Lantern, even got there, just great. But it's got some great ads all the way through. Baby Ruth there, you've got the Green Lantern, obviously you mentioned there, Flash, and you've got the Green Lantern story. It's really silly story, I mean, but it's great. They must have used a lot of green ink for this story anyway. Also, you've got this one, Hop Harrigan. Now, I think these stories were probably in it from the start. So you've got the Hop Harrigan there. And you've got Daisy Bell, red, white and blue. Now, obviously, the Green Lantern story's been reprinted before. I mean, you can find it in numerous books. But the thing is about these, which I really like, is the fact it includes all the other stories. That's the one reason why I didn't buy the All-Star 3, because I've got All-Star 3 in another format. So I thought, well, I don't really need that because it's got all the story. It's exactly the same. But with this, you just generally only get the Green Lantern story. So it's really nice to actually look all these other ones like Red, White and Blue. I mean, they're not great stories. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not, there's nothing to... but actually some are very good. You've also got Start Saving Bags. Okay. I love these ones. Popsicle Pete, the typical American boy. Actually, I wonder if that was like Archie. It's obviously a similar sort of thing, wasn't it, Archie? Don't think he looks very much like the similar typical American boy, but still. And of course, you've always got to have the good old story there. They always have to have that. It's very odd, very strange. I guess saying that, I mean, most of the UK comics of that period also had stories like this as well. But I love all these adverts. For thrills, excitement and adventure, don't miss the July issue of Flash Comics. On sale. Newsstands. All newsstands. You certain about that? Maybe not every newsstand. Maybe most newsstands. Who knows? Maybe pernickety. But still, All American Comics monthly book review. That's quite nice as well, isn't it? That's a good sort of thing. Maybe they should put that in now. Maybe then people go, oh, you know what? Let's just go and get Mark Twain's book. Or Adventures in the Unknown. The Infrared Destroyers by Carl H. Claudy. Obviously, Alan was a popular one. You got Alan Scott and you got Alan Kane there. This is odd because the All American Comics, it was slightly different from the ones that had Action Comics, the Superman. I would have thought they would just have included the Flash and those sort of all-star ones. But instead, they included, obviously, the lot there. And also they even include a lovely ad for All American Comics. And he's only just turned up, and there's an ad for him in the same issue. Very confusing. That does not seem anywhere. But anyway, I guess it's just on sale about the 20th of every month, apparently. I would love to see a collection of this. Scribbly. I don't think there's been any collections. There's odd stories. I've seen odd stories over the years, but Scribbly would be a brilliant one if they could bring that out. It's very odd. Very odd stories, but still fascinating. I love this one. This is Carrie Concord, the Ultraman, and even the date as well. I mean, is there a resemblance to a certain... Yes, I think everyone could say which series that was, but it's just odd. But it even looks very similar. And the characters. Yeah, there was no... All-Star Comics, #1. And also you can see again, they're up, plug in the Sandman and Hourman. We don't plug him. Flash and the Hawkman. That's good to put him. And also Ultraman and Red, White and Blue. They didn't actually put the Green Lantern there. That's really odd. They forgot to update that one. So maybe Ultraman was the big name at that point. I picked these up for next to nothing. I was really pleased as well. I thought, you know what, when I was bidding for it, this was on eBay, I thought, they're definitely going to go for more than what they went for. I was really surprised. Really pleased I got these at a ridiculously low price for these books. So excellent. And I just think they're excellent. The comic art ones are just great. Of course, it's got EC. You've got some excellent Fantastic Four there. Just I think, look at that Fantastic Four. And the Avengers. That's Avengers. There's definitely some excellent Fantastic Four in here somewhere. Actually, there was the Fantastic Four page, and I probably can't find it, so I'm not going to be able to show you. But it was a Fantastic Four page, and I thought, you know what? I don't remember that part of the story. It was issue 30 or something. I was thinking, was that a Submariner story or something? Maybe. But there, Batman. Very unusual one. Batman #52, apparently. Look at that one for Punisher. You got the complete story here. Well, actually, you haven't. It's 48 pages, so that would be very unlikely it's included. But however, that's what they were auctioning at the time. But you've still got a fair amount of story. And if you've, of course, got a magnifying glass, you can look at it and read the story. And also, it's got the Phantom as well. This is what I love about these ones. It just covers so much of... Actually, some of the ones I really like are the ones that the international ones as well, because they're all featured lots of other stories I know nothing about. I love this one, Adventurous Decade. Now, I've got that book. But obviously, this one is a special one where artists have actually drawn all over it. And I mean, wow, that must be absolutely amazing. Like Frank Rosetta, imagine having that in your book. Just be brilliant. It also got the price card one there. Love that one. That's a Bill Ward one, preliminary sketch of that one. And also you've got Ghost Rider. You've also got loads of other Sergeant Fury, 72 partial story, original group of 12 pages, etc. But the reason I'm saying it was for a bargain, I actually got 3 of them. So this one, comic art, again, another one. Maybe this is the one with the Fantastic Four. Again, I probably won't find it. It's just one of those ones you're flicking through and you suddenly find it. Look at that, John Carter. I love that Warlord of Mars. Dick Tracy, Adventures on the Planets of the Apes. And that is the only omnibus edition that I thought, you know what, I'd love to buy it. And it's so ridiculously priced. It's a very, very slim omnibus edition. And it's just the pricing is just crazy. Lovely bit of Gil Kane there. Oh, look at that. I mean, that is just superb early work there. Winsor McKay, just glorious. And you can see a little bit of, that's Little Nemo, isn't it? It must be. Yes, Little Nemo. Even more complete ones. Headhunt, New Mutants, which actually ties in with a book I'm going to show in a few minutes. And also some Electra there as well. Some glorious Al Williamson. Heritage, again. This one is the comic. It's the ones with all the various things. And I like looking at them. I must admit, obviously sometimes they vary. Sometimes you think, oh, that's an interesting one. And there's some really interesting ones in here that I've never seen before. Some, I think they're like Brazilian or something. Well, I'll get to them, hopefully. I'll find it as I flick through. So Captain America, of course, 6.5 there. Oh, here they are. Superman. Action Comic #1. It was actually a weekly. Oh no, I was thinking Brazilian. It's Mexican magazine that reprinted Action Comics #1, page by page. I mean, wow, really early reprint of Superman, as well as Wonder Comics, as well as X-Men #1. This one turns up a lot. Playboy issue. I think that was issue 1, wasn't it? I mean, that is absolutely amazing. I mean, issue 1. Wow, Marilyn Monroe is on the front cover. 9.4 white pages. And then you've got lots and lots of these small ones. So again, you need a magnifying glass. But you've got Duck Albums there, Flash Comics. You've also got probably, what's that, Fighting Yang? Yep. Buck Rogers and many others. And I love they always include these on the back as well. You can see the various best things. Of course, you've got amazing stories. It also includes, I think, some like weird tales and those sort of ones, which I always find fascinating to look at. This is not one. The Fiction Factory by Quinton Reynolds, From Pulp Row to Quality Street. Nothing to do with sweets. Could have been, of course, but it's not. It's the Street and Smith. Or is it Smith and Street? Whatever. One of the two. Street and Smith, they are. But it's got loads and loads of information of various things. Of Buffalo Bill, the New York Weekly, My Queen, The Lure of the Flame, and Smith's magazines, and Western Story. Really worth checking out, and you can get copies quite cheap. I was quite surprised. I mean, I got this one for £10 at Gosh. You can get it for basically the same sort of price. But I'm really pleased with such a book that I just didn't know about. So this is all the various things. You can see all the magazines, Mademoiselle, Charm, Living, and we've got some more on the back as well. You can see there New York Weekly, the Popular Magazine, Nick Carter Weekly, and others. This is an old one, Vramushka. Now, I saw this at a comic convention. I should have bought it then, but I thought, no. But I read an article about it later. I thought, I must pick this up. And it's quite interesting, 1972, and it's full, of course, of Edward Heath, Wilson, and many others. But the artwork's really great, and it's definitely a fascinating snapshot of the 1970s, all the various politicians of the time. And, oh, I thoroughly enjoy it, all in black and white. Recently, I did an interview with someone from Korea, and I was quite fascinated by talk about Korean webtoons, and I thought I must pick up a book about Korean webtoons, so I just did, and it's fascinating. It's all mainly obviously just text. There's actually no pictures at all, but still an interesting insight into a subject that I really know very little about. So you can see details there about webtoons as well as Korean webtoon culture. I love this. I love the artwork. Over the years, I've had a few of the paintings, obviously not the real paintings, but quite a few of obviously the prints and things. And I love this one, Louis Shabner, and this is by Stuart Webb. Now, it's a weird Amazon one. It's one of these sort of, they're always odd, but at the same time, it is an absolutely amazing book all the way through. Really beautiful artwork and lots of examples of his amazing work, and also lots and lots of his book covers, like pan ones there. You Can't Hit a Woman, Female of the Species, as well as many others there. The Urgent Hangman, The Terrified Typist, You Can't Beat That Sort of stuff, Des Wheatley, and many others. But this is a really nice book, and certainly one I'm really pleased to pick up. Comic Book Artist, I love these. Issue 22. I'm not really certain why they called it Comic Book Artist. It should have been Comic Book Publisher, because the reason, well, it does of course feature lots and lots of artists, but this one's about Gold Key. And I think this is just great. I wish they would bring out a book about Gold Key and Dell. It's just odd that they've missed that one out. Warren, loads of other ones. But this one is all about Gold Key, and it's a lovely issue. Got lots of covers, though not all the covers. I wish they put all the covers in. You've got here, obviously, Dell. This is what Dell, obviously, and then they turned into Gold Key. There's a weird sort of story about that. And there's Russ Manning. And if you love to rock, you've got all the covers on a page, as well as some great Tarzan. And some Star Trek, as well as The Sword of Dagar. This is the latest book from Carrero Press, or Carraro, I'm not certain. However it's said. Let's have a look. There it is, you can see there. Carrero Press. This book is called Terror, the Horror Comics, Art of Jaime Cortez. And now, weirdly, they brought out also a companion book. It's called Macabrous. Macabre, obviously. But it's just odd that they've done it in a split. Now, I've ordered the other one as well. Hasn't come yet. But I'm just going through this one, the Horror Comic Art, and it's Volume 1. Now, weirdly, they call it Volume 1 in here. I haven't seen it actually listed anywhere as Volume 1, but obviously the other one is going to be Volume 2, I assume. And there's the contents there, and there's some of his artwork. Obviously some posters of films, as well as tons of great comics and book covers, and some more book covers as well. Most of them are all from the same one, the Black Terror, or Terra Negro, as it says there. Also, I really love the fact they include those. I think the reference photos are always great. And sometimes you look at it, you can see obviously there. It's really nice to see that. And then you've got obviously one there as well. A slightly different angle, of course. Here's another book from Carrero Press. Now, one that I didn't realise existed. And I was just looking online. I said, oh, that sounds interesting. Gothic Fantasies. It's pretty weird, I must admit. The macabre in contemporary art. A few years ago. I don't think it's readily available, but you can obviously find copies. There's some of the artwork. It's quite strange. A bit like Dave McKean. I love Dave McKean's artwork, and it's got that sort of style. But there's also some very unusual other work as well. Sort of Alice in Wonderland, I suppose, must be. Or some very, very strange artwork there. It's the work of lots and lots of different artists. Some very strange ones. Again, something very like Dave McKean, I could imagine. Some truly weird and gruesome artwork there. Probably one of the greatest books that's ever been created. Shakespeare's comedies, histories and tragedies. Now, I've wanted this forever and ever. Now, for many years, I've seen various volumes and I thought, you know what, I must get a copy. This cost about £40. You can find them reasonably priced. If only it was the original, of course, first folio, but it's not. It's the facsimile one, and a really nice one. Apparently it came out originally in 1955. It's a Yale one and Yale Press. I don't know where it's obviously for reference only, it says here. Obviously cancelled from a library there. But wow, just absolutely great. It's got a really great introduction, which is always good. But it's actually the contents, of course. I mean, The Two Gentlemen of Verona. To be fair, it's actually quite hard to read when you actually look at it. You sort of, I think that's sometimes why when I do read it, I go back and look at the original, the later versions that have been cleaned up a bit. Because these ones are actually quite hard. And of course, when you've got the S's and various things, but not just that as well, some of the words you think, what does that mean? What does that reference? And of course, it's got no sort of information about what certain terms are. And you think, have to guess on that. But still, it's an absolutely stunning book, and certainly one you can just thoroughly enjoy looking through. The Winter's Tale, as well as the second part of the King Henry IV. Of course, it's the 400th. That's the reason I went and bought it. I thought, why not? Let's just go and get a copy of this brilliant, brilliant book. Though weirdly, when they did it, the BBC did a whole run about the first folio. There wasn't actually that many programmes about the first folio itself. I think there was one programme. But there was no actually readings from it. I would love to have seen a couple of Shakespearean actors actually reading through it and actually putting it across as it was in here. Also, the bad quartos. I hate that word, bad quartos. Of course, it's not really a bad quarto. But still, it's a great, wonderful book. Really hefty as well. Now, this is a facsimile one as well, but obviously a slightly different one. The Best of the 1950s. I picked this up for £1 or so, and I love these sort of books because they've got just great. So if you want some recipes, chivers or chivers, I don't know how they probably say it, chivers jam, as well as trading on trust and all the fashions of the 50s as well. 1,000, was that pound? I think it's pounds. It was a pound. I was just suddenly looking at the way it's written. I thought maybe $. That would have been weird, wouldn't it? To See the Queen, as well as all the various things that were in the shops at the time. And the 5th volume, this is the final one of the Don Lawrence work. So this is absolutely brilliant. I've been collecting this series. I love the Dragon Empire. They're really great, great stories. But there's the various artists there. Don Lawrence, Mike Butterworth, Oliver Frey. And this, apparently they're coming out with a volume 6. Obviously it's not going to include Don Lawrence's work, but there is going to be a volume 6 later on, I think about 2025 I read somewhere. But it's really beautiful. I just love the artwork. The story's absolutely great. Anything about Rome, obviously it's Rome, so it's the Trigon Empire instead. But just a truly beautiful series of books. Thoroughly enjoyed it, so I'm over the moon that they got to volume 5. Now, I didn't buy that. There were some lovely editions they brought out. They were really massive ones, and I thought about buying them. My mate bought one, bought the whole lot. I think it was about 12 volumes, but in many ways I prefer this format. It's just a nicer, easier to read format, I think, and I think it's just lovely. Just quality book from Treasury of British Comics. Or should I say, Rebellion. I must admit, I didn't realise these existed at all. I've been collecting the series in the English versions. I think there's 4 volumes. I think there's also another 5th and a 6th one, hopefully at some point coming out. But there's also this. I think this is just absolutely glorious. I mean, what I love it. This is number 11. I've got a couple other issues as well. But the artwork is superb. Some really nice quality paper. And they're about £2 or £3. Just an absolutely beautiful comic book. And you can see some of the artwork. I mean, it's just glorious. I mean, look at that. Just. Now, it's all in French. Bit hard to work out, to be honest. But still, you can just sit and admire the artwork. There's also a new volume, I think it's about £40 odd, that looks really impressive. But I haven't seen any information about it yet, particularly. So I haven't decided to buy it. I keep thinking, oh, I probably will get it. But without actually seeing the sort of like videos or run through the book, I'm thinking, maybe not. But still, this one I think is glorious. I mean, just look at that beautiful colour there. I just love the colouring, and the whole painted artwork is just amazing. It also includes letters on the back, I think, which is great to make it look like a sort of Victorian, that sort of period sort of paper. Here's another one. This is number 19. I think this is the last one. Number 19 is the last of the issues, and it just looks superb all the way through as well. Absolutely action-packed and just beautiful artwork. And another page. And as I guess, because it's the last one, they didn't actually put any newspaper on the back. This is number 18, and I mean, just look at that lovely aerial shot there. Absolutely amazing. And a few more pages as well. And on the back, slightly different from the other ones, you've got this, the Pavilion of Mars. And this is number 1. I've done it in reverse order, of course. Always do that. And again, just glorious artwork all the way through, and a really brilliant story. I keep thinking maybe I should get all of them. There's, like I say, 19 issues, but I probably won't. I think 4's at a reasonable amount. Hopefully, maybe they'll bring out a complete volume of this. This would be absolutely amazing. And again, another sort of, Lille. I love Lille. One of my favourite places to visit. I've done a review of this. I haven't put it up yet, but this one, Captain Savage. It's the only series of the 60s, obviously other than ones that probably got 1 or 2 issues, that I've got every single issue of Captain Savage. Now, I got this online on eBay, and I was so pleased because it's one of those series, for some weird reason, has not been collected into a complete or epic or omnibus or even a Marvel Masterworks. But this is just a great series. Bit like, obviously, Sergeant Fury. Sergeant Fury actually turns up in this as well. Also, you also get Ben Grimm and other characters turn up as well. And it's just a great set of stories. Really enjoy them. I love these war comics from Marvel. Again, they don't seem to get much love, but I love them. Charlton Spotlight. This is a lovely one. Remembering Pat Boyer. And wow, what a great little... I've got a few of these before, and I wish I'd kept them. But this was the one I thought, you know what, I must get another Charlton Spotlight. Now again, Charlton is not one of those ones that's particularly popular, but I've really enjoyed many of the Charltons I've read over the years. You even get a lovely index as well in here. Quite a long index of all his various works. Now you can see some of the Charlton ones. True Life Secrets and Unusual Tales and Zoo Funnies. I love this. Absolutely brilliant Artisan edition. Now, I'm not a mega fan of the New Mutants, nor Moon Knight particularly, but still, I really love his artwork. So it's just glorious all the way through. The only trouble is, of course, with these, it's got no actual complete stories as far as I can work out. Here's all the contents. So you can see there it's got page 3, whatever, etc. And it has not got a complete story, which is a pity. But it does have some great art. And also some coloured pages this time, as well as Moon Knight and some covers. Though, without the actual text, it's a really odd story. And some more Elektra, all the way to the back. I think there's a couple of other Artisans coming out fairly soon. There's a Spider-Man one that I'm really looking forward to. And also there's an EC one. Now, the EC one I probably won't get because I've actually got the artist edition for that. This is a nice one. Superman Family, Jimmy Olsen stories. Lovely old Supergirl. Though, weirdly, they didn't actually include any details about the original story. So in terms of saying the date. Likewise for Lois Lane. I'm assuming that this story is probably from the early 60s. There's even a lovely story of Mr. I'm not going to say that, otherwise I'd of course go back to the... I love art books of the Middle Ages. This one's absolutely fascinating. Now, when I bought it, I wasn't aware that actually this book is a Victorian book. Obviously, this isn't a Victorian book. It's a facsimile of a Victorian book. And it's, you can see as soon as you, of course, pick it up and read through it, that it's clearly not a modern book. But it does have some absolutely beautiful artwork. I mean, wow. I mean, truly awesome. And some more. And The Chronicles of England, written for Edward IV. Got quite a few now. I've been picking up novas just occasionally, just issues from like 1966, 1967 and 68. And, well, this one is my latest one, and I just love the novas. Now, it's not probably as good as Twen, the German one. But the good thing about that one, this at least is in English, so I can actually read it. But it's just got some absolutely glorious adverts. Some more adverts for Salon, obviously whatever that is, Courtaulds Nylon, as well as Elizabeth Arden and Harold Wilson, as well as some After Eights and The Art of Klaus Antonio, and also A Walled-In Wives, a report on the suburban neurosis. I think that's all, yes, neurosis. The one trouble with these magazines, actually quite often, sometimes the pages start to fall out or start to rip. And while I was actually opening it just then, I heard quite a bit of the glue ripping away. But this is a lovely little magazine, Nova. I haven't got many of these now. Atlas Comics. I used to have virtually all of them. And the only stories that I didn't get, other than, of course, the big black and white magazines, and they're impossible to get, was the Vicky ones. And I thought, yes, finally, a copy of Vicky. Now, unfortunately, this copy is slightly not the world's greatest condition, but it's still issue 1, and it was reasonably priced. It's slightly, very damaged on the back. It's not great, but still really good. The stories, however, were originally from Tower Comics. They were the Tippy Teen stories. So even though it's Vicky, obviously was originally Tippy Teen. This was not one to pick up. I picked this up in my local Oxfam shop, and it was £2, and it was, there you can see, 1931. Really great, with lots and lots of wonderful imagery, and also, of course, lots of, but it's all in French, so I can't read it at all. Make out some of the story, but it's still, again, lots of great adverts, as well as some beautiful photography, and also some absolutely glorious artwork as well. And I love that. Look at that beautiful illustration. I mean, that's just stunning, those fireworks there, as well as some light bulbs and shoes. This book was recommended to me. Can Rock and Roll Save the World? It's only just come, so just through the post. I've just been reading it. And the illustrated history of music and comics, and absolutely fascinating. Now, I don't think any book probably could include every single possible reference to every single comic book that's included music. But this does include some really interesting ones. Of course, you've got the Beatles one. I remember that one, Strange Tale. I love this. It's got Robert Crumb. Robert, absolutely fascinating. I love reading anything by Robert Crumb. As well as New Kids on the Block. And also Josie and the Pussycats. I love picking up these ones. Roxy and Valentine. They had some really wonderful... Now, they were all 1950s ones, but they were fascinating. There was also Romeo and a few other ones, these sort of comics. Mirabelle and others. And, of course, Judge Dredd. You can't beat Judge Dredd. Punk Rules, or Punk's Rule, I should say. Remember getting that one. Alice Cooper. Really brilliant. As well as Kiss. And Bob Marley. Actually, I don't remember that. Marvel Music. Completely forgotten about those. And some more amazing work there. I love this bit about the Beatles. That's really good. My Love. Music, it happened at Woodstock. Just absolutely brilliant. Now, I just got the Woodstock DVDs. There was an ultimate one. 4 DVDs. And I'm looking forward to watching it. I think it's just one of the greatest films. I'm looking forward to see all the bonus material. Of course, Love and Rockets. I love Mockingbird. And this one, so I saw this in the shop at Forbidden Planet. And I thought, ooh, must get that. Mockingbird, Strike Out. And this is original novel by Maria Lewis. I've only got about 15 pages into it. So far, so good. It's got Hawkeye, of course, as well as Mockingbird, and also Tigra, or Tigra. I'm never certain how you say that. There's the details on the back. Breakneck espionage thrills from Marvel heroines. Apparently, the whole series of them. I must admit, I didn't know anything about these, and I suddenly thought, oh, interesting. There's got a Squirrel Girl one. You've got them, obviously Miss Marvel. You've got the Shadow Avengers. Okay. You've got the Tyrant Skies. That's obviously Doctor Doom and Red Skull, as well as, of course, another one. It looks like, yes, the Heroine of Doom. I got the Penguin email about various books they brought out recently. Clarice the Spectre, Complete Stories. And I thought, wow, that sounds really quite interesting. And this has got 84, 85 different stories. Really a lot, 600 odd pages. And so far, I've been enjoying quite a few of them. So this one is definitely worth checking out. And Hidden Genius of the 20th Century. I went to the National Gallery a couple of days ago. I love this exhibition. I love all their small ones. I think I prefer those to the big one. They've got a Franz Howell one at the moment, and it's fine. It's really good, very impressive. But I have to say, the ones where they just have 2 or 3 rooms, I think they do a really nice job of those. And they always bring out like this sort of thing, nice little catalogue. And this one is Discover Lyotard. I'm not even certain. I've never heard of him before. I'm just complete. And I think some of these paintings are ones that they probably got, obviously, at the National. It's ones that you think, oh, that looks really good, and then you walk past it. So it's really nice when they do an exhibition about it and really discuss it with a bit more depth, so you really understand it a lot more. Like the one was Eva Gonzalez was the last one, the Manet. That was just amazing. And this one is equally brilliant. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Now, the many faces of Lyotard. And many examples, not just of his work, but sort of connected, related work, as well as some pastels as well, because that's what he worked mainly in. Later, oils. And it was nice they actually had one side pastel and another one that he did, I think it was in London, and it was in oil. And it was just fascinating seeing, and you sort of think, which one do you prefer? And I actually asked a few people, and some people turned around and said, oh, the oil one, definitely. I must admit, I think I preferred the oil one. But still, a fascinating exhibition. Yeah, another French magazine. I love picking these up. This one's a Christmas one. All the Christmas ones. I've got quite a few Christmas French magazines, and they really do a lovely sort of selection of all the presents and things you can buy, all the fashions of the time. And this one's 1970s, and they are just really good. And it's got some really classic adverts, and as well as obviously some absolutely lovely fashion designs. Also a lot of patterns as well as things to buy for Christmas. As well as various tins of whatever, beans, I think. Cassoulet Superior. This one's Housewife. I've got quite a lot of these, and I love this one. This is probably the best magazine from the 60s, I think. Just got so much information about the 60s that I love. August 1966. This is 3 shillings. You can see there it's got Mary Quant in her kitchen. You've also got Space for Living in a Victorian house. Or yet more patterns. Never could work those out. I am really not any good at that sort of thing. As well as different recipes. And living life to the full. As well as some Florida orange juice. As well as eating out of doors. And Edenvale cottage cheese. I remember that. I don't know if it's still going. I guess it is. Still probably available. I'm not certain. Here's another French magazine. This one, don't ask me to say. I can't. But still, it's actually a pattern one. And when I bought it, I didn't think it was a pattern one, but it's actually lots of pattern designs. But it's still got lots of great adverts, as well as the books of the time. How to put up some thermal insulation, or as it says there, isolation thermique. And finally, Hip Hop Family Tree. Now, I've been thoroughly enjoying the cartoon kayfabe, and I've been following various things and talks about this. I thought, I must get a copy of this. I actually find this very interesting. It's the Hip Hop Family Tree and all about hip hop music, as well as many others. Now, the artwork is very odd. You may or may not like it, but I think it's really interesting, fascinating little story. Also, noteworthy hits of 1982, as well as Graffiti Rock and Roxanne, The Enemy of the Best. And also you get a lovely cover gallery as well. And even epic battles, even the Hulk and the Thing gets in this. Well, that's a run through of all the various things. That's over the last couple of weeks. That wasn't just a couple of days ago. That was for a couple of weeks. But I hope you found it of interest. Have you bought any of these items? Are you intending to buy any of these books? I think some of them are great. Of course, the Shakespeare one I think is one of the best. Probably not for everyone, but certainly one that I have looked forward to buying for ages and ages. I thought, yes, I must finally get a copy. Only 400 odd years late, but, what the heck. Of course, there's a Comic Mart coming up soon, so I'm looking forward to going there. I'm really looking forward to go to also a book fair, so pick up some more books. And I think maybe a bit more restraint by any more books. It gets to the point where I think maybe that's enough. But there never is. There's always a couple more books coming out. I'm looking forward, of course, the Dave McKean retrospective. That's coming out fairly soon. That's hopefully about a week or 2 weeks away. I saw it in Forbidden Planet. I picked it up. Literally crushed me. It was on the top shelf as well. Really. Why did I? Because it was sealed up, so I couldn't actually flick through it. I wanted to have a quick flick through it. But it was on top shelf. I picked it up and I thought I better not drop this because one, I'd probably be killed. And also it wouldn't be very good. Be mangled on the bottom. But still, I think that looks amazing. I can't wait to see it. It's about 600 odd pages. It just looks enormous. Looks amazing. I love his work. Also, I've just ordered Tarzan. I'm just looking at the list. You probably noticed I'm looking down. This is to my not yet dispatched list on Amazon. Tarzan, the Basima Years Omnibus. I'm really looking forward to it. I love his work, really brilliant. And Tarzan stories I really thoroughly enjoyed, so I'm looking forward to that collection. That's priced at the moment about £85. Expensive. Hopefully that price will come down, but who knows. I've also ordered The Tube. I'm going for a period of sort of liking a lot of old sort of DVDs of things like The Tube, Old Grey Whistle Test and all those sort of things. Just watching lots of brilliant old clips from the 70s, 80s, etc. Now, I've also got Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide to Lost Universes, issue 2, or volume 2, I should say. That's coming out in March, according to things. Who knows? It probably drift. It was supposed to come out in 2023. Now it says March 2024. Also, The Complete Web of Horror. Can't wait for that. That should be brilliant. Also, A Northern Wind. I love David, I can never say his name, Kneiston maybe. I don't know. But whatever his name is, I thoroughly enjoy his books. And that one is coming out in May. Oh, it's drifted. It was April a couple of days ago. Now it's May. Actually, I probably should just get the hardback, but I can wait for the paperback. And I prefer the paperbacks because I've mainly got paperbacks, so I prefer to get it in that format. Also, Alfred Hitchcock's storyboards. I love storyboards. I don't know if you've ever collected storyboards. I think storyboards are just near enough like comic books. They are just fascinating. And apparently the Alfred Hitchcock ones are pretty impressive. So I am looking forward to that set. Also, the Atlas Comics Library #3. That's Day of the Rockets. That's the Fantagraphics Atlas Comics Library. That's obviously going to be a science fiction one. Joe Maneely, apparently one of the main artists in that. So that should be good. Nancy and Sluggo's Guide to Life. Comics about money, food and other essentials. There's not actually that many books with Nancy. You can get a few, but quite a lot of them have been out of print for quite a while. But this one, Nancy and Sluggo, I thought, that one sounds good. I thoroughly enjoyed the recent books that I got of Ernie Bushmiller. And also there was one about Nancy, a sort of analysis of Nancy. This one should be quite good as well. Also pre-ordered the Pacific Comics Companion. Now, I don't know much about Pacific Comics. I did buy a few, but Pacific Comics, generally an unknown quantity as far as I'm concerned. So I'm looking forward to see that. It looks like it's got some really great titles. And, this is by John B. Cook. I've quite enjoyed many of these other books as well, so I'm looking forward to that. Also, Wonderful City of the World, New York City's travel posters. That should be pretty good as well. That's by Nicholas Lowry. I think that's coming out in May. Lots of books coming out in May 2024. This one's £32.20. Hopefully, again, will come down in price. But I love travel posters. They're always fascinating. Also, let's go for it. This one, Lottie Laserstein. An unusual name. This one's a Swedish edition. I might try and buy the English edition, A Divided Life. It's coming out supposedly in December. I'm not certain if that obviously will hold. The weird thing is it's already available according to the Herma website. So I don't understand why on Amazon it's saying December. Makes no sense. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I love the artwork, what I've seen, and so that should be really good. Also, another one of Atlas ones, Atlas Comics Library #4, that's War Comics. Really looking forward to that one. Fantagraphics again, Joe Maneely, one of my favourite artists. I really wish they'd bring out a really serious, massive, solid book about Joe Maneely, all of his inked pages and that sort of thing. That would be brilliant. Something for tomorrow's. I would have thought they would have produced him, but They haven't so far. But here's tomorrow's American Comic Book Chronicles. This is 1945 to 1949. I've got the 1970s one. That was pretty good. Very good, in fact. But also this one, 1945, 49, a favourite period of mine. Just after the war, there was a lot of really quirky, weird sort of comics that came out at that time. An area that I've got quite a few comics now. I'm picking up slowly, that sort of 1946, 47, and you can still find them reasonably priced at the moment. So that's something worth checking out. And also I think things like the Timely Comics produced some really great comic books at that time. Odd and unusual, not for everyone, but thoroughly enjoyable. EC Fan Addict Fanzine number 5. That looked amazing. I haven't got any of the previous issues, but what I've seen about it, I think that should be really great. Apparently arriving Thursday, so I'm looking forward to that. If it does come Thursday, yippee. I love any of these sort of fanzines. Really, really good. Actually, one thing I didn't include in this list, I did get another fanzine that was pretty amazing. I love those fanzines. They're normally like about £8-7, that sort of price, but they're obviously labours of love. And it's just great. You get all the various things. People put their own enthusiasms, their various things that they really love. Like the one I was talking about, the oil rig one. Just brilliant. Hagar the Horrible, the first 50 years. That was a recommendation that was on Cartoon Kayfabe. That's coming out apparently in, September 2024. That's September 2024. This one should be good. John Romita's The Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2 Artisan Edition. Now, obviously it was out in Artist Edition. That's way too expensive now to buy. I'm not going to get it there. And also in many ways, I prefer the Artisan Editions because they're just easier to pick up and read. You can wander around the house, just read them, and you don't have to have a forklift truck to do it. This one's drifted quite a bit, and I don't know why. It's weird. This one's a Mighty Marvel calendar book of visual history. I loved the Mighty Marvel calendars when they came out. So I thought, wow, this sounds great. And all the other previous Abraham books have been amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Mighty Marvel calendar book. That's January 2025 now. Why has that drifted? It was 2024 somewhere. This one, that's drifted a bit as well. December 2023, Spider-Man, panel by panel. I loved the Fantastic Four one. That was really good. I'm not so certain about this one, Spider-Man, panel by panel. Thinking maybe it might be as good. It's, of course, the first issue, Amazing Fantasy 15, but also Spider-Man 1. And it's going to obviously break down the panels, the whole page for a panel, which I quite like as a format. Might not work for every single comic, but I think it's quite got a lot of messages coming through on my various... Lots and lots of messages for some weird reason today. I think it's someone's birthday, so they're just sort of coming through. Not my birthday. So that one, panel by panel, makes you wonder who they'll bring out next. Maybe Avengers one, possibly. X-Men panel by panel. That would be an interesting one. Who knows? This one, Archie's Pep Comics. Maybe not for everyone, but I really love this series. Archie Comic Presents. Doesn't seem to be very uniform. I think it was probably because of COVID. During COVID, somehow, obviously, they were bringing out lots of these books quite regularly. Then suddenly it all sort of stopped. But now, hopefully, they will continue again. And I really genuinely love. They're small. I wish they'd bring them out in the proper format. The big, obviously, the comic size format. But they, of course, do them in digests, which is always a pity. But still. And another one on my list is the Atlas Comic Library. It doesn't mean because I've mentioned it, I actually get it in the end. It's possible. The Atlas Comics Library, number 2, Venus Volume 2. Finally, that's coming out theoretically in April 2024. I want, obviously now, I'd love to see it now because I loved the first volume. That was Marvel Masterworks did that. But this, I think, is going to be brilliant. Bill Everett's work. Love Bill Everett's work. Absolutely. And I've seen a lot of the Venus works. Over the years, I've bought odd books and things where I've seen it. But this would be nice to have it in a complete volume of that sort of second half of the Venus series. And third, and near enough at the end, X-Men The Hidden Years Omnibus. That's drifted as well, 2024. That one's obviously John Byrne. I really genuinely love that series, The Hidden Years. It was I bought lots of the comics over the time. I probably near enough had every single issue, but it'd be great to have it in a complete volume. And then down to Marvel 2-in-1 Epic. I haven't got many on order. They are becoming crazily expensive. I don't know. I mean, obviously things cost and everything else nowadays, but suddenly they've become £40, £42, and I think that's a lot for those epics. very, very pricey. But this one's a 2-in-1 epic collection. This is 2 Against Hydra. This is obviously volume 2. And I will continue to buy a number of them. Not probably every one, but I'm tending to get that one, maybe. Also, I'm looking forward to this one, Marvel February 1964 Omnibus. And I think that's only about a couple of omnibuses I've got on order. Mainly because, of course, Daredevil. But I love all the other stuff that's included. They include, obviously, the Millie the Model, Patsy Walker, things that I think should be reprinted. I love Patsy Walker, the Millie Model stories, as well as, of course, the Westerns. They did things like, obviously, Ringo Kid and those sort of things. Two Gun Kid. And, the Art of Dave McKean's slipcase set. I am really looking for £111 at the moment. It's quite expensive. In Gosh, I think it's £135. It is looked amazing. I love Dave McKean's work. I mean, I've met him a few times. I love his work. Brilliant. His films are amazing. Obviously, the Sandman work he did, those Sandman dust covers ones, excellent. The Mr. Punch one, classic. The Paul Nash book, just brilliant. Just work after work that he's produced. One, I think, of the greatest artists that Britain's ever produced. Personally, I think he's up there, should be definitely more well known. I don't know why he's not mentioned on the TV. They mention, obviously, all the various Brit Art ones. And I just think Dave McKean outmatches them any day, as far as I'm concerned. So, but still, that's the way the world works. And finally, after all that long list, the Atlas Artist Edition, and I hope they produce more than just this volume, but they've got Joe Maneely, Volume 1. I love Joe Maneely's work. I think he's one of the best artists ever from Atlas Comics. He did produce so many works. Atlas Comics, very unusual style. I always wondered, because he died, sadly, died too young. And I mean, you just imagine the work he would have probably done during the, obviously, Marvel age. I mean, it would have been amazing, I'm quite certain. We'd have had Ditko, we'd have had Kirby and Joe Maneely, and Marvel would have produced stunning, stunning work. Maybe then, obviously, Jack Kirby would have had more time to really, really make every issue. He obviously did, but even more amazing. And I think that would have been so. But Joe Maneely, Volume 1, really can't wait. I hope they bring out some additional ones. Don Heck comes to mind, but there's obviously many others. There's obviously going to be, obviously, Bill Everett will be another one. Basil Wolverton, probably. I don't know, obviously, depending, obviously, how many works they produce for Atlas. Not every artist. Maybe they could bring out an Atlas Artist Edition, EC ones. Now, that would be one of the best series. If they brought out one that includes, obviously, the Russ Heath, you've got the ones, obviously, Wally Wood, anything that did sort of, obviously, from EC that worked for Atlas would be amazing. So that's a run through of the various things. Obviously, that list will change. I might delete things, and I will probably add some things as well. On your list, what are you looking forward to, obviously, for 2024 in terms of comic books and books? There's a lot, obviously, everyone's going to have a different list. Have you got anything you think, yes, that is something I really, really look forward to? Also, that's about it. I think I'm worn out. I think running through all those, as well as discussing all the books. So, bye.